Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into yet another Akem's analysis. This is video two of my two full recap videos from the weekend. We had a really long video with Keenan, and it was a good conversation. So I wanted to post that whole video recapping Montana versus Idaho, talking about some of the other landscapes of the Big Sky Conference. So go check that video out too. But in this video as well, we will be recapping Montana State versus Eastern Washington. We'll be looking at UC Davis versus Weber State. We'll be looking at Sac State versus Cal Poly. We'll be looking at NDSU versus South Dakota, NAU Portland State, Incarnate Word. We'll peep at that. We'll look at West Georgia. So we'll look at some more games in this video that I wanted to talk about. So stay tuned in for the whole video. First things first, every Big Sky team has a heart, and so do we. L&M Fine Jewelry is Montana-owned, family-run, and proud to support the same communities that pack the stadium every Saturday. When you're ready to celebrate life's big moments, trust the jeweler with hometown roots and high-end style. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell. L&M Fine Jewelry is the official jeweler of Akem's Analysis and the Samuel Akem YouTube channel. Please go check them out when you're looking to buy that special ring for that special person. Landy and Michael are the owners of the family-owned L&M Fine Jewelry store. One in Missoula on American Way, the other on Main Street in Kalispell. Go check them out. L&M Fine Jewelry, your diamond destination. It was a pretty quiet week in FCS football. Not a ton of big games going on, but Montana State got their wheels back underneath them, got the beat down on Eastern Washington. Love to see that. That's a team that a lot of people have high hopes for that hadn't really done what they have done in the past. So we'll talk about them. UC Davis got another victory, but they still kind of, so we'll talk about them. Sac State, man. I got a lot to say about Sac State. I will talk about Sac State, and we will get to that because they deserve my time today. They deserve my time today, and I, of all people, I picked them to win the Big Sky Conference. I need to be the loudest one talking about this team every time they play because I said they were going to win the Big Sky Conference. I need to own up and need to be front and center. When the conversation about Sac State is being had, I need to be there. So we'll talk about Sac State as well. I got a lot of thoughts about them. NDSU and South Dakota. I also have thoughts about them, man. I also have thoughts about them, and they look dangerous, man. They look dangerous. So we'll talk about that. NAU got a victory against Portland State. I thought they should have won by more. We'll talk about that. Incarnate Word. I don't know. I don't know with this Incarnate Word team. They drop one to NAU, then they go play Portland State, and then they go play ACU, a ranked opponent, in-conference opponent, and actually that's not an in-conference opponent. That's Incarnate Word is Southland, ACU is in the UAC. Either way. They play another ranked opponent and they beat down on them. So we'll talk about that. And then West Georgia, 5-0. I don't know if they're playoff eligible, but hey, I see you. So we'll get into all this. Make sure you guys hit the like. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below, and we will get straight into it. Okay, first things first. Montana State versus Eastern Washington. It was a great game for the Bobcats. Love to see the Bobcats get back on track. They have not been looking like the Bobcats that a lot of people thought they would be this year. And finally, they got back to their dominant ways. Very balanced, too. Montana State said they want to be balanced this year. They were balanced. 287 passing yards, 293 rushing yards. We haven't necessarily seen the same dominant rushing game from Montana State that we have come to love as watchers and pundits of the Big Sky Conference. But they look like a top team. That defense, there is not a defense in the Big Sky Conference better than Montana State's. I will say that boldly and loudly. Montana State unequivocally has the best defense in the Big Sky Conference. They can rush the passer, they can stop the run, they can defend the pass. I mean, they're good in all facets defensively. So that's a unit that is going to hold people down all season long, and that is a unit that's going to lead that Montana State football team. Obviously, they won by 50 yesterday, but in most games in most ranked games and their big important games that Montana State's going to win this season, it's going to be on the back of that defense. I would relate it to that Montana team from 2023. They were good offensively. They could put up points. They had weapons, but it was that defense. It was Alex Gubner. It was Braxton, Flink. It was all those guys on that defense. I'm blanking on some of the pieces, but Corbin Walker, all those guys, Trevin Gradney, all those guys. That is where Montana State is right now. So Takari Carr, Cole Taylor, Hunter Parsons, Zach Cruz, Bryce Grebe. I mean, Paul Brott. That defense is insanely talented. Caden Dowler, they are insanely talented. They have a ton of talent on that defense, and that is the unit in the conference that needs to be reckoned with. Against FCS competition, so not counting that Oregon game where they gave up 59, the Montana State defense is currently allowing 10 points a game. 10 points a game. 10 points a game. In 4 FCS games against FCS competition, they're allowing 10 points a game. That is unequivocally one of the top defenses in the FCS and the top defense in the Big Sky Conference by far. I think Montana's defense is around 20 after giving up 30 to Idaho. That's going to go up. I mean, you look at all the teams across the Big Sky, most of them are around 20 points or more. 20 points or more. Their defense are allowing 20 points or more. So when you look at this Montana State defense allowing 10 points against FCS competition, that is the unit. They are stout. They are sound. They play together. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They're going to make you earn everything. So that is the unit that I got my eyes on in terms of defenses. Eastern Washington, they're just not good at football. And I'm not even trying to be harsh. They're just not very talented, and they're just not very sound. I'm going to break down the game, so please go watch the breakdown of the game. At this point, it'll probably be dropping today when this video is dropping, but go watch that Eastern Washington breakdown. They are just not a sound football team. They're just not supremely talented right now, and 2, they're just not sound. There's plays, and this happened last year too. They are just not sound defensively, and it is frustrating because yes, you're not the most talented unit. There's been years where we've looked at Eastern Washington squads, mostly when I was in school and before when I was in school, where they just had a ton of talent everywhere. First off, there's not a ton of talent littered across this Eastern Washington roster. There's just not. There is not a ton of players that you look at and think Wortham was one of the last talented players that they had, and they got poached, unfortunately. I mean, that's just what happens. When you got a Montana, they got all the amenities, they got all the facilities, they got all the money. Like, they are going to win recruits like Wortham. They're going to win recruits like Peyton Wing. That is just a facet of, that is just how it works. I'm sorry. But this Eastern Washington team, man, this is a team that used to be a staple in the Big Sky Conference. They always had the talent. They always had one of the best offenses. They were always going to be able to put up points. And the way I described it to my wife, she was asking me yesterday, I think we were driving home from the game, and she was I think we were driving to the game, and I was just telling her, like, yeah, Eastern Washington's get beat up by Montana State. Like, they're just not good. And she was like, what happened? Like, didn't they used to be good? I was like, yeah. And what it used to be for Eastern Washington was they had a ton of talent, and they were usually one of the best, if not the best, offense in the Big Sky Conference. And their defense was usually the problem. They never could defend. They've never, and that's the thing, is to see them give up points it's never been surprising that they were giving up points. Is even when they had good defenses, they were still giving up 20 to 30 points. Like, they've never been one of the best defenses, but they've always had offensive talent. They've always had receivers. They've always had a quarterback. That's where their talent always lied at, and they were good there. Now, first off, they're not a talented team, so take the talent out of the equation. They don't have a ton of talent. But then, like, their defense is terrible. Their defense is absolutely terrible. And then their offense is average at best. Their talent on their offense is average at best. Jared Taylor's a good player. Nate Bell's a good player. They don't throw the ball efficiently enough for my liking. They don't throw the ball well enough for my liking, but they're good, serviceable players, but they're not great. And then their offensive talent is not great, and that's not to poo-poo on anybody on that offense. They are just not a great football team, and they are not a talented football team. And it doesn't seem like that university really prioritizes football enough for them to become a good football team. I mean, you let Michael Wortham walk out the door. This man has been an all-world player for Montana. You do whatever you have to do to keep a Michael Wortham on campus. Now, it may be hard, and there may be nothing they could have done to keep him. They don't have the money. They don't have the weapons around him. There was nothing appealing to Michael Wortham to keep him there. Fair, I get that. But my goodness, man, Eastern Washington is just an abomination right now. They're just absolutely an abomination. And I'm not even trying to, like, be hard on them, but I gotta call it how I see it. Eastern Washington is not good. They're not good. And it sucks to be able to see that because we had some battles with Eastern. I think I'm probably like 2-2 against Eastern. We lost in 17. We beat them in 18. We didn't even play them in 18. We beat them in 19. So that's 1-1 right there. 19, we played them twice. We went 1-1, so that's 2-2 versus Eastern. And then I didn't play in my senior year, so I'm 2-2 against Eastern. We had some battles against those guys. Eric Barrier, boy, I'll tell you, everybody. I say Eric Barrier, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. EB3 was a problem. They don't have that. So credit to Montana State. I think they look really good defensively. Offensively, Justin Lamson looks good. He can run. He can pass. Some points I would make about Justin Lamson. He needs to learn how to slide or dive. One thing Dalton Sneed did a lot of times was he was a diver. He wasn't a slider so much, but he would dive. But Justin Lamson needs to protect himself more. And I've said this since game one. I've been saying it. Justin Lamson needs to protect himself. This Montana State team is not going to go anywhere without Justin Lamson. And I'm not trying to be hard on Mr. Duchesne, Pat Duchesne. But he's not Justin Lamson, unfortunately. He got in the game and he threw an interception yesterday. Which he's a younger guy, he's still learning, he's growing and improving, but they need Justin Lamson. So Justin Lamson needs to protect himself. I really do think he needs to protect himself. He takes some hard hits at times, and they're hits that really make me like that looked a little painful. So Montana State's receiving core looks like one of the better units in the conference. Chris Long, really, really good. I'm blanking on one of their other receivers, but Taco Dowler obviously is that guy. There was another receiver that shows up for me, number 84 maybe. They got some players at receiver though. They got a good receiving core at Montana State. So, and obviously we know Julius Davis, Adam Jones, man, Colson Kuhn, that boy. If Montana fans, who probably maybe or maybe not watching this Montana State segment, but Colson Kuhn is akin to John Wynn at Montana, and Montana fans would know exactly who I'm talking about. And if you and it's convoluted because Montana State fans know Colson Kuhn, but they might not know John Wynn. Montana fans know John Wynn, but might not be watching Colson Kuhn. Those are the same player, and the reason I say that is because John Wynn was religiously would break through and have a long run and would always get run down. He did not have that top end speed to take the top off and to get to the end zone. He never did. He always got walked down. Colson Kuhn is getting walked down at an alarming rate right now, and he's running the ball well. I'm not even trying to. This isn't a downplay his game. He's playing good football. But in terms of that top end speed, my boy, they are walking you down. Dang, man. But they look good. Montana State and Montana may be on a crash course, but there is still a lot of ball to be played. Last night, when I heard the live call, obviously I was at the Montana game, but when I was watching the game back and I heard the live call, or I was watching some highlights or something, I think it was the end of the game highlight where they were showing the Stein, and Chase Daniels said Montana and Montana State are on a crash course. And be that as it may, they may eventually be on a crash course, and it may set up to be a really, really like game day type, like, hey, game day, don't mess this up. If it does end up being two undefeated teams meeting each other for the conference title, don't mess this up, ESPN. Don't mess this up, College Game Day. Don't do what you did back in 2021. You should have been in Missoula in 2021. You should have seen that game for me to get my first victory against the Bobcats. It's not even about me. It's not even about the right. Like, it's just like that was a really highly anticipated game. I think both teams were ranked in the top 10, maybe top 5. Like, two really good football teams facing off against each other in a ranked game for all the Well, actually, we weren't even playing for a conference title, but we were playing for the Brawl of the Wild. If it's a conference championship game for the trophy as well, don't mess this up, ESPN, and don't make me have to say this again. Don't mess this up. Make the choice. But I want to pump the brakes on the crash course talk for real, because there's a lot of ball to be played, and there's a lot of teams that could mess things up for people. I think Montana State has to play UC Davis. Montana State, I think, also has to play Cal Poly. Montana has to play Cal Poly. Montana also has to play Sac State, who doesn't look great, but they can make things difficult for you. So there's still a lot of ball to be played. Both Montana and Montana State look like the two best teams in the conference, but let's pump the brakes on the crash course talk for now. For both of these teams, I think both Montana and Montana State need to take it a week at a time. Do not look ahead of any opponent. Both look really good. Both look like they can contend. Maybe I don't even want to call them contenders, because we know Tim Rosario dropped that amazing article talking about there are not a lot of contenders in the FCS. And I'm going to be very, very real with you right now. I have not seen a team that can beat NDSU yet this year. I've not seen a team that I deem is even within 10 to 15 points of NDSU. And it's a hard truth to come to because Montana looks good. Montana State looks good. UC Davis looks like they're going to be a playoff team. South Dakota State looks good. North Dakota looks good. There's teams out there. Tarleton looks good. None of them are up to the level of NDSU at all. And it is not close at all. I'm sorry. And I know I'm talking about Montana State, Eastern Washington. I'm really kind of done with my points about Montana State, Eastern Washington. They look really good. I like Montana State. A lot of people were on me about my comment about, so South Dakota State got up on Mercyhurst in a hurry. And I had tweeted like, hey, after watching this first quarter of this Mercyhurst game, it might be time to have a conversation about the Bobcats. And I think everybody who actually watches the Akem'S analysis knows how I feel about the Bobcats. They are a really good team, top 2 team in the Big Sky Conference, defending Big Sky Conference champions. I mean, all the things. I am a fan of Montana State. And not even like I'm a fan, but like I think they're a good football team. But everybody saw that one comment and was like, hey, man, this is a bad take. Like, this is a bad take. Mercyhurst has been on the road all season, whatever they were saying. It was a bad take. And I'm not too prideful to admit that was a bad take. Because a minute later, I quoted it and was like, hold on just a minute. But South Dakota State did beat up on that Mercyhurst team. And you were head-to-head with South Dakota State. So if you guys are evenly matched teams, why didn't your matchup against Mercyhurst look like that? And you lost to South Dakota State too. So not only is South Dakota State currently better than you, when you played like opponents, first off, you played against each other and South Dakota State won. They won. You can say it was a close game, it was a pick 'em, whatever. They won. But then when you guys played like opponents, you also did not beat up on them the same way South Dakota State did. So that's all I was meaning. I'm not trying to disrespect the Bobcats. I think the Bobcats are great. They have the best defense in the conference. Like, and that's the thing. Is like you can say so many good things about a team. You can talk up a team. I'm fair, up and down. I'll tell you what I see. I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what I don't like. And that's just it with me, man. So don't look at that tweet and think that like, yeah, whatever. But Montana State, they look good. They got back on the right track. I don't have their schedule pulled up in front of me, so I think they play NAU next week. Maybe on the road, NAU on the road. I think they go back on the road. They played their first game on the road against Oregon, then they've been at home, similar to Montana, for their next 4. And then I think they're back on the road, same as Montana. So, NAU, I think that's going to be a better game than Eastern Washington. I think NAU is going to challenge them. I think that'll be a good challenge for the Montana State defense, but we'll talk about all that in my preview show. So you guys let me know what you thought about Montana State versus Eastern Washington. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yo.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more championships.
Okay, next I want to talk about UC Davis versus Weber State. UC Davis secures a dominant conference win against Weber State. Really good job from the UC Davis football squad. Caden Pinnock, I think, is still showing freshman tendencies. He looks good. Caden Pinnock's playing well enough for them to win football games. And I think this is why you're able to play a freshman quarterback, which is, excuse me, gosh, I got the hiccups out of nowhere, which is why Montana probably would have been fine playing Ayat last year with all the talent they had. Like, the talent is going to make up for the deficiencies that a freshman quarterback may show. The talent around them is ultimately going to carry them for where they're missing at. Carter Vargas, Jordan Fisher, Samuel Batu, Ian Simpson, Stacey Dobbins, Mateo Perez. I mean, guys that have played big football. Oh my gosh, Rex Connors had 2 carries, 4 yards, and a touchdown? Hello? What? Okay. But what I was saying is, Caden Pinnock looks like a freshman right now. I mean, his completion percentage is not the high. I think he's around 60% completion percentage. I think yesterday he was at 59% completion percentage. Yeah, he's at 59% with 16 for 27, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I think he's only thrown 1 or 2 interceptions on the season. Yeah, 2. It shows 2 interceptions right here. Yeah, he's only thrown 2 interceptions on the season. So, I mean, I'm always going to be fair with these quarterbacks. I'm always going to be fair with these teams. But Caden Pennick looks like a freshman. But I think the reason they've been able to continue to win games is because offensively they have talent. Defensively they have talent. I mean, they got players around him that can make up for, like I said, whatever deficiencies he may exemplify in his first year as the starting quarterback. The talent around him is going to make up for that. And I think my picture might be frozen right now. There we go. I'm back. But wherever he's missing at, his talent around him is going to make up for it. So Carter Vargas, 8 carries, 55 yards. I'm a big fan of Carter Vargas. 8 carries, 55 yards, 2 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He is their receiving running back, similar to how Land Larson was their rushing and receiving running back. Jordan Fisher is kind of the in-between the tackles runner. I feel like more so Carter Vargas is the guy that you get on the outside, get him those sweeps, get him those tosses, get him those things on the edges to where he can really let his speed eat. But Carter Vargas is a good player. Jordan Fisher is a good player. We know how good Samuel Batu is, 4 for 112 and a touchdown, 28 yards a catch. I mean, they got talent at UC Davis. But Caden Pennick, he's still playing like a freshman, which I don't think matters now. But as we saw in that Mercer game, a Mercer team who is now 3-1, I believe, so a good football team. As we saw in that game, there's going to be some highs and there's going to be some lows. Caden Pennick in that Mercer game had some really high highs. So even with that in mind, he probably has 3 interceptions this year, but that game was canceled. So none of the stats matter, but I know what I saw. He played really good in that first half. That second half when Mercer started to come back, Caden Pennick necessarily wasn't able to find his reads, wasn't able to scramble around. It just was a struggle for him in that second half. So I think against the stiffer competition in the Big Sky Conference is where Caden Pennick might see his biggest struggles and where he's going to have the biggest growing pains this season. But I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to play good enough throughout the season for them to make the playoffs. But consistency is the thing, and improvement is the thing for Caden Pennick. You know, his completion percentage has been lower than where I would like it. I want my quarterbacks at 65 to 70% completion percentage. That's not always ideal. Freaking Clifton McDowell took Montana to the national championship, and I think he was around 58, 59% completion percentage. Low 60s, high 50s. I mean, that's not great, but the defense was great. They had a really good running game, all that stuff. The offensive line had one of their best seasons under Houck, so all that stuff. But Caden Pennick also had 11 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. And then I mentioned Samuel Batu. I also mentioned Carter Vargas. I mean, we know what the offense from UC Davis is going to give us. It's really about the defense and the consistency of that defense. They played their best game, I think, yesterday against Weber State, only giving up 12 points. So that was good to see. The quarterback of Weber State, Jackson Gilkey, 14 for 22, 138 yards, no touchdowns. They had 138 yards on the ground. Their leading receiver, Marvin Session, 3 receptions, 44 yards, no touchdowns. Marcus Cretion had 1 reception, 11 yards, and a touchdown. So Weber State is not the Weber State that they were when I was in school. So they just haven't been a good team as well. The same thing I said about Eastern Washington. It's not necessarily the same. I don't think they have talent at Weber State either, but they just haven't been a great football team. And it's crazy to see because since Jay Hill left, they just haven't been the same football team. They were good on defense when under Jay Hill, good enough on offense. They were trying to ground and pound on offense, but, you know, they had good talent. Rashid Shaheed in the NFL for the Saints, a dog, was at Weber State. Now, after seeing Rashid Shaheed in the NFL, you start to think, man, did they even know what they had in Rashid Shaheed? He was a returner. They throw some deep balls to him at times, but like they did not use him the way they should have. That's a different point for a different day. I like UC Davis. They are a force to be reckoned with. They're 3-1. I believe they're 2-1 versus the FCS, or they might be undefeated versus the FCS. Who's their one loss? Their one loss is in Washington. So they're undefeated against the FCS. They're a highly ranked team. I think they got a pretty good schedule as well. I know they play Montana State this year on the road, maybe. Did they play Montana State this year? I can't remember. I don't have their schedule right in front of me. And anytime I try to pull up a link, my OBS goes haywire and starts lagging. So I don't want to do that. But I like UC Davis. They looked good. They get the victory against Weber State. Their defense had their best game of the season. And that's what it is. That's what it is. I think Weber State UC Davis needs to continue to play good defense. Because I've mentioned the inconsistencies. And obviously you should leave. I mean, Weber State should only put up 12 to 15 points on UC Davis, if that. You know, they're not a good football team. And if UC Davis is a playoff contender, if they're a team that wants to make a deep push, that's where it's got to be. One thing about this UC Davis team that I think's worth mentioning, is that their offensive line isn't necessarily the unit that a lot of people predicted it to be. I think coming into this season, a lot of people thought maybe UC Davis was going to have the best offensive line unit in the conference. And they haven't necessarily played like it. They haven't necessarily looked like it. They haven't necessarily been that. So that's something to pay attention to. That's something that's going to matter a lot as we go throughout this season. But we'll see. So really good job from the UC Davis Aggies. They get a victory to move to 3-1. Weber State falls to 2-3. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this UC Davis versus Weber State game, and I will move on. Okay, man. We got to talk about Sac State versus Cal Poly. Boy. Dr. Luke Wood, Coach Marion, the boys at Sac State, the Hornets, all the fans. It is not looking good right now. Sac State currently sits at 2-3. Their 2 victories. They're 2-2 versus the FCS. Those 2 losses against South Dakota State and Cal Poly. Those 2 victories against Mercyhurst. And goodness, who did they play? Mercyhurst. And who was their last non-conference game? I can't remember. Am I going to have to pull it up? Give me just a second. I'm pulling up their football schedule. Let's go to the Sac State website. Central Arkansas. So they beat Central Arkansas last week. The week before that, they beat Mercyhurst. And then they just lost to Cal Poly, man. And it wasn't particularly close. They lost by 8. So I guess they lost by a score. They had a chance to win. They got sacked to lose the game. But, man, Sac State. Sac State. Come on. Cardell Williams. 10 for 24, 42% completion percentage, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 8 carries, 13 yards, 1 touchdown. Rodney Hammond Jr., 19 carries, 105 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. He's been a bright spot for Sac State. He is really good, and he's looked like it. He's looked like that bell cow. On the other side of things, Bo Kelly, 17 for 27, 63% completion percentage, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyrell Washington, their running back, 22 carries, 113 yards and a touchdown, 5 yards a carry, 5.1 yards a carry. Jordan Garrison, their leading receiver, 4 receptions, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18.3 yards a catch. I mean, Cal Poly is not a slouch. Cal Poly is not a team that you can sleep on. Cal Poly is not a team that you can just willy-nilly, we're going to go out here and we're just going to win. No, you are not. You need to bring your lunch pail against this Cal Poly football team because they have talent. They have talent. They have talent, man. This is a talented Cal Poly football team. They have the best receiver in the conference who didn't have a good, he had 4 for 63 or something, 3 for 63 or something. But for his standpoint, he had a quiet game. But Michael Briscoe is the best receiver in the conference by far. I don't think there's anybody close right now. I haven't really seen anybody close to him right now, but Michael Briscoe is that boy. And any team playing against him needs to be, he is a big play receiver. He didn't have a ton of big plays yesterday, but Michael Briscoe is a big play receiver. So anybody playing against him has to key in on him. Maybe that's what Sac State was doing, was keying in on Michael Briscoe, and then they got beat with Jordan Garrison. That's what happens. But Sac State 2-3. They're 2-2 versus the JV. Which we gotta continue to push that point, because we gotta bring the point home that you called the FCS JV, which we can't let you forget. You said the rest of our sports are playing varsity, football is playing JV right now. Well, you guys suck at JV. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You guys are not currently good at JV, and every other sport at your school is playing varsity. So you guys are just the little brother? And not only is the little brother not even be able to get good at JV, the little brother is a bench player on JV. Little brother can't even get into the show at JV. How are you going to play varsity if you can't even get in the show at JV? You're not even one of the top. I'm not going to get down there because I'm the guy who picked him to win the conference. Why would I do that? I don't know. But I did that. So Cal Poly is 2-1 versus the FCS. So although everybody wants to look at Cal Poly and say, they should be an easy win. I was somebody who looked at this Cal Poly team and said, they should probably be an easy win. They lost to Stephen F. Austin, who Stephen F. Austin may be a better team than what people want to give credit to too. because they just beat somebody. I can't remember who Stephen F. Austin beat, but they got a good win on Saturday too. But that's Cal Poly's only FCS loss is Stephen F. Austin. So do not sleep on this Cal Poly team. Montana has them at homecoming, and that is not a game you want to look past. Put them down and put them down in a hurry because this team can beat you and will beat you. Cal Poly's next 3 games are they're going to cause problems for their next 3 opponents. Next week, they got UC Davis. The week after that, they got Montana. They have a bye, and then they have MSU. Their next 3 games for Cal Poly. So the 3 top teams in the Big Sky Conference are playing Cal Poly their next 3 games. So, hey, Keenan, in our segment in our Montana video, asked, who do I think, out of those 3 games, what do I think they go over that stretch? Like, do I think they go 1-2, 2-1, 0-3, 3-0? I said I think they go 1-2. Now, who that 1 is, I don't know. I think I lean towards that 1 being UC Davis, but I think Cal Poly goes 1-2 in their next 3-game stretch. So, hey, one thing I do know, Sac State is not a playoff football team. They're just not. Now, they're just not. They're just not. Sac State is not a playoff football team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. They have a good pass rush. They can rush the passer. They get sacks, but like there's just not enough there. There's not enough meat on the bone for me, man. The quarterback play is good. It's not great, and it's not great when it needs to be great. Their defense doesn't get stops when they need to get stops. Their defense doesn't rush the passer when they need to rush the passer. I'm not even trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to call it how I see it, man. This Sac State team is supremely talented, but similar to how everybody who was cautioning me with Sac State throughout the offseason was, yes, they are talented, but talent is one thing. How do you make that talent mesh is another thing. And that is exactly what we are seeing play out live and in effect every single week with the Sac State team. The inconsistency says that. They're just not a team that's playing team football right now. They're not playing complementary football, and they just don't show up when they need to show up. When you most need them to show up, Sac State currently is not showing up. Nevada, a team they should have beat, they did not show up. South Dakota State, a team that they only gave up 20 points to. They lost 20-3 or 23-3. They lost a manageable football game. They didn't show up. And then against Cal Poly, when things get a little tight, you're down by 8. You have a chance to win. They jump out in front of you and you can't recover. They just don't show up when they need to show up the most. And it's just disappointing, man. It's just frustrating and disappointing to watch this football team and watch them not just to see how talented they are and just to see them not be able to you know. Now, what do I think about Cal Poly? I think they're a decent football team. They lost to Stephen F. Austin though, who looks good, but I don't think Stephen F. Austin is a playoff team. I don't know if I'm ready to call Cal. I don't know. I don't think Cal Poly is a playoff team. Like, so Cal Poly is going to be that team that is like, you just got to have them circled on your schedule because they're not gonna be an easy out. They're not going to be an easy out. Now, we're probably going to see a game or two, maybe against Montana State, where they do get up on them and they do beat them down. And you're thinking, oh, like Cal Poly's dog. No, they're not. They're a good football team that plays good football. It's just, ugh. So that's where I'm at with things with Sac State. I've said enough about Sac State. I don't want to seem like I'm putting them down. But they just haven't risen to the task. They haven't. Sac State has not shown up. Sac State has not been who people think they were and who they're supposed to be. And I got to call it how I see it. And I will always do that. So you guys let me know down below what you think about Sac State and Cal Poly. What did you guys think about the game? What are your thoughts about Sac State going forward? Let me know in the comments down below and I will move on. Okay, man. I got to cover the Big Sky first because I work for Skyline Sports. We cover the Big Sky Conference. I'm always going to do that first. But when there is good things happening in the FCS, I got to give my thoughts on it. NDSU, South Dakota. First off, let me pull up this game. Let me pull up this game first. But, man, NDSU looks like a wagon. And I want to say this. I said this in the Montana State segment of this video, but I know NDSU fans and South Dakota fans, and I don't know if people watch the whole video. So I got to reiterate some of these points. I have not seen a team in the FCS this year, currently, that I think can beat this NDSU team. I haven't seen it right now. I haven't seen it. It has not shown up for me. Cole Payton looks like the Walter Payton Award favorite for me right now. I don't vote on that award, but he looks like a favorite. I mean, 51-13 against the 17th ranked South Dakota Coyotes. Now, is South Dakota really the 17th ranked team in the country? That's up for debate, maybe, but it is what it is. NDSU went out and showed you it doesn't matter who we're playing against. It does not matter who we're playing against. They're not better than us. They're not going to beat us. North Dakota State, I haven't seen a team that I think is within 10 to 15 points of them yet this season. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. NDSU is supremely talented. Their defense is allowing 7.5 points a game. 7.5 points a game. There's only been one team to put up over 10 points on them this season. SEMO. I don't know how they did that. Maybe they did it on the backups. I haven't watched that game. But Southeastern Missouri State put up 14 on them. But they still lost by like 30 or 40. So, I just haven't seen it, man. NDSU is the best team in the FCS. I don't know if anybody can beat them. Currently, I haven't seen a team that can beat them. Now, maybe teams are getting better. Teams are going to improve as the season goes along. But I haven't seen a team right now that's better than NDSU. South Dakota, man, it's so hard. They lost so much talent over the offseason. They had 3 offensive linemen transfer. They lost Karan Adams. They lost a ton of talent, man. Charles Pierre goes down now. LJ Phillips has picked up nicely. But, I mean, it's just so hard. And defensively, I don't know if South Dakota is where they were last year. Also, South Dakota had 2 1,000-yard rushers last year with a really, really good offensive line. They don't have that this year. When you can run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball, that makes things so much easier on everybody else on your offense. They don't have that this year. They just don't have that this year. So, it's frustrating for South Dakota. I know Coach Travis Johansson, his first season as a head coach, I know it's frustrating for him. But you just ran into a team that currently is playing the best ball in the country. To put it plain and simple, you just ran into the best team in the country. There's nothing else to be said about it. You just simply ran into the best team up and down in the country. The best defense, the best offense, top 3 quarterback, really good running back, best offensive line, best D-line. I mean, all of it. Best receiver. Bryce Lance is the best receiver in FCS. All of it. It's just tough. You just ran into a buzzsaw. So give South Dakota some grace. I think a lot of teams that play this NDSU team, the game is going to look like that. I think they're going to have some hiccups. They're going to have some close games because obviously teams like that always have those games where it's like somebody gets up on you and, you know, you're playing catch up and they're able to keep up scoring wise. And that's what it's going to really be is teams have to be able to keep up with them offensively and teams have to be able to, you have to be able to be effective against their defense. If you can't be effective against their defense, they are going to put up points. They are going to put up points. That's just what they've done and what we've seen. They're going to put up points. Can your defense stop them? Or can your offense be effective on their defense? Can you get points on their defense? Can you show some holes in their defense? I think last year, what was susceptible was their defensive backs, really, which they still won the national championship. But I think that was kind of the weak spot on that defense. Cole Payton is a serious Walter Payton Award contender. I already said that. NDSU's defense allowed 7.5 points. I already said that. They're the most complete team in the FCS. I already said that. Yeah, I mean, NDSU is a wagon. A wagon. Nobody is up to snuff with NDSU right now. Absolutely nobody. Nobody. So, take that for what it is. I love what I'm seeing from NDSU. I feel for South Dakota. But South Dakota is not that team this year. They're not one of the top in the MVFC. They're not one of the top in the country. They're probably near the bottom of the top 25. That's probably where I would see them finishing this season, is a top 20 to 25 football team at the end of the season. Maybe they can sneak into that 15 to 20 range, but I just don't see it from South Dakota this year. And it's not even, they just lost a ton of talent. It's hard when you lose talent like that. So you guys let me know what you thought about this NDSU versus South Dakota game. They are a wagon. They are the team to beat. Nobody is better than them right now, in my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, next I want to talk about NAU versus Portland State. Man, NAU is, I think they're undefeated against the FCS. They beat everybody you've put in front of them. They look good. I'm not trying to downplay NAU, but they don't play defense, man. They don't. How do you let a defeated Portland State team put up 17 points on you? They're just, I mean, and you only put up 31. This is a team that just put up 52, 59 or something. NAU has been scoring points this year. To only put up 31 points on this Portland State team, I don't know. Out of the top 5 in the, like, if you got Montana State, the top 2, UC Davis at 3, you got Idaho at 4, NAU's at 5. So they're one of the top teams in the Big Sky Conference, but they're at the bottom. They're that 5th team in. They're on that bubble like they were last year. I would agree with that, but they were better defensively last year than they are this year. Ty Pennington is a good quarterback, not great. Karan Gosset, 16 carries, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Seth Cromwell, only 12 carries, 36 yards and a touchdown. So interesting there. Ty Pennington had 4 carries for 51 yards. I mean, Ty Pennington's playing a good brand of ball right now. Anybody playing NAU, it's not going to be an easy out by any stretch. NAU is playing ball. Kobe Katzis, their number 1 receiver, 4 receptions, 56 yards and a touchdown. DeLon Thompson on the Portland State side, 17 carries, 88 yards. Christian Ingram, 3 receptions, 73 yards, and no touchdowns. And then Eddie Schultz, 6 receptions, 48 yards and a touchdown. Their quarterback, John Kiwu Sagapolutele, 18 for 36, 50% completion percentage, 200 yards, and a touchdown. So, I don't know. NAU looks good. They're undefeated against the FCS, so you got to give credit where credit's due. They have not lost the FCS yet. I don't have their schedule put up in front of me, but I think they have one of the tougher Big Sky strength of schedules in the conference. So, sorry, this freaking Vaseline, man. But they're one of the better teams in the conference. One of the better teams in the Big Sky Conference. They're near the top 6 teams in the conference. They're better than Sac State. I don't know if I'd say they're better than Idaho. They're not better than UC Davis. They're not better than Montana State. They're not better than Montana right now, based on what I've seen. But they look good. And until they lose an FCS game, you got to give them the respect. And they're going to continue to move up into the polls until they lose an FCS game. And if they don't use an FCS game, we're going to be talking about a top 15, top 10 ranked NAU squad and maybe a Big Sky Conference champion. But I think they play Montana State this week, so that's the game that I have my eyes on. Montana State, NAU, I think they play in Flagstaff for the first road game, the second road game for Montana State. But that's going to be a good game. That'll be probably the game of the week in the Big Sky Conference if I had to guess. Montana State versus NAU. NAU is probably going to be top 15. Montana State's top 5. So they'll have a ranked game, and that'll be a really big matchup for Montana State on the road. And I'm excited to see that one. We'll talk about that one on Thursday of this week, so tune in for that. But NAU looks good. I have no bad words to say about NAU. I like their quarterback. I like the weapons. Kobe Katz is a dog. He's probably the second best receiver in the Big Sky Conference, second or third. He's in that top 3 of receivers in the Big Sky Conference. Michael Briscoe sits at top. Michael Wortham, whether you want to call him a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, he's up there. And then obviously you got Kobe Katz. So he's a good player. They got talent. The defense is not there for me, and I think that's ultimately what's gonna hurt this NAU team is the defense, because I haven't seen them hold some opponents to low scoring totals. Obviously, Portland State, they held them to 17. You should not let Portland State score on you. I mean, we've seen this team get shut out by Tarleton, BYU. Obviously, Northern Arizona is not BYU, but yeah. Northern Arizona is good. They're 4-1. They're undefeated in non-conference. They're undefeated in FCS. So I mean, it is what it is. They are who they are. And until they play some stiffer competition, until we see them bump their head, until we see them lose, they beat Incarnate Word, who just beat up on a ranked ACU. So I think that's the biggest point about this NAU football team is they beat Incarnate Word. Now, Incarnate Word's been up and down this year, but Incarnate Word beat ACU, who I think per stats perform was the 12th ranked team in the country. So say what you want about NAU, say what you want about head-to-head, say what you want about, they beat Incarnate Word head-to-head. And Incarnate Word just went and got a ranked win against Abilene Christian. So we got to take NAU for who they are right now and what they've done and what their performance on the field has been. Defensively, they're struggling. Offensively, they're great. And they've beat every FCS opponent that you've put in front of them. So that's what it is with NAU. And we're just going to have to judge them week by week. We'll get a big test for NAU this week. If they can beat Montana State this week, the conversation is going to get very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because Montana State has a wagon of a defense. And I think that's ultimately what's going to stop NAU is the fact that Montana State can play good defense. But I don't want to talk about all that right now. We're recapping. So NAU is 4-1. They beat Portland State as they should have. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about that, and I will move on. Okay, briefly, I want to talk about Incarnate Word versus Abilene Christian. Incarnate Word got the victory against Abilene Christian 38-7. They moved to 2-3. Abilene Christian is also 2-3. They were ranked pretty highly. I think they played a lot of FBS opponents. But one thing that I want to say about Abilene or Incarnate Word, ever since they made the switch, the quarterbacks were same, 17 for 30. Both quarterbacks, one had 140, the other had 122. Both had a touchdown. One of them had 2 interceptions. Stone Earl had 2 interceptions of Abilene Christian. But one thing I want to say about this Incarnate Word team, they've looked better since E.J. Colson has been the starting quarterback. Now, I don't know if Richard Torres got hurt. I don't think Richard Torres got hurt. I think he got benched. But whether he got hurt or whatever happened, E.J. Colson has looked looked better behind the center. Richard Torres had a horrendous start to the season, throwing interceptions, inefficient passing, not being able to operate the offense, and he just didn't look good. E.J. Colson can run the ball, can throw the ball, and he's looked the best in that offense. Yesterday, Lontrell Turner, 20 carries, 118 yards. E.J. Colson, 19 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. That boy nice. Jalen Spears had 13 carries, 63 yards, and a touchdown as well. Chaden James was their leading receiver, 5 receptions, 43 yards. Man, what happened to Jalen Walthall? I just want to know, man. I had him as my second best receiver in the FCS behind Bryce Lance coming into this season. And man, what happened? Is it the fact that maybe he's not getting the ball thrown to him? Is he just not the same? Was it the fact that he had a quarterback that he had last year? I'm blanking on his name right now, but he had a really good quarterback last year, and I think that's the biggest difference in this Incarnate Word team. I say it every time I speak about them. The quarterback play is not the same there. And if you've never had to play, if you've never played receiver and you don't understand what it means to have a really, really good quarterback and then to go from a really good quarterback to maybe just a good quarterback, it makes a difference, man. And especially a quarterback that's going to take some chances, that believes in his arm and also believes in you as a receiver. They're going to try to put that ball in there, and they're going to say, hey, my guy's going to go make a play. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of Incarnate Word and enough of Jalen Walthall to really understand, but I want to know, man, what happened? It makes me angry. But Incarnate Word, E.J. Colson has looked really good. Abilene Christian, I don't know. I don't know what to think about. I just don't know what to think, and that's really what I come away with from all of these games a lot of times. Especially you guys know, I look at all the FCS. I'm watching all the FCS, but where my attention is most centered is the Big Sky Conference. And sometimes when games like this happen, like Incarnate Word beats Abilene Christian, I'm just like, what? Like, how? Incarnate Word has looked average at best this year, and Abilene Christian has looked good this year. But then they go here, and it's like, what? How? I just don't get it sometimes, man. It just confuses me sometimes. It's like, what is going on out here? Why? What? I don't know, man. I don't understand it. So I want to understand. I'm trying to understand. I just can't right now. But Incarnate Word, give credit where credit is due. They get a ranked victory. I think this game, it was a home game. Yeah. I think it was a home game. So they get a home victory, ranked victory. And I'm sure they're going to be ranked this week. I mean, they beat a ranked opponent. How can you leave them unranked? And maybe the pollsters and FCS stats poll know something, because after Incarnate Word looked bad the first couple of weeks, they were still ranked. And maybe that was for good reason. Maybe they are a worthy football team. Maybe they were just going through some lumps at the beginning of the season, but I don't know, man. I think outside of the top 10 to 15 teams in the FCS right now, it's a jumbled mess. It is a mess. And that's why I think, I love voting in the Red Shirt Sports poll, and I will continue to vote in the Red Shirt Sports poll. I love the transparency of it. I love that y'all can go look at my poll and tell me where I'm wrong at. Tell me what you disagree with. I love that. But it's just I don't know, man. I just can't figure any of these teams out. When you feel like you've got a team figured out, like I felt like Incarnate Word, I was thinking like, yes, like they're good, they got talent, but they're just not going to be able to put it together this year. And I thought the biggest reason was because of Zach Calzada. There's his name, the quarterback. Him leaving, I think, left a lot of question marks with this football team, and I think he was a lot of the success. But then they go out and they beat Abilene Christian, the 12th ranked team in the country, by 30. What? So it's just confusing right now. Any team outside of like the top 10, I really haven't been able to figure them out yet. I feel like the Montana States, the Tarletons, the Montanas, the NDSUs for sure, the South Dakota States for sure. Like, we've got them figured out. And a lot of the teams in the top 10, we really got them figured out. But with like Incarnate Word, Abilene Christian, outside of like the 10 to 15, the top 10 to 15, it's like they're playing very inconsistent ball. One day they play really good. The other day they don't play very great. Like, it's NAU. They're a top 20 team. They play good offense, but then their defense gets gashed. And it's just like, I can't figure you out. I don't know what you're going to give me on one day, on a week-to-week basis. I just don't know. So those are my points about Incarnate Word. Very good ranked victory. They'll probably be ranked, as they probably should be, but I still don't know. I still don't know who they are. I still can't figure them out. So take that for what it is. But you guys let me know what you thought about Incarnate Word versus Abilene Christian down below, and I will move on. Okay, the last team I want to talk about, the last game I want to talk about. One of these days I'm gonna stop talking so much about Southern Utah, but they're always there. They're always there. But West Georgia gets the victory against Southern Utah, 27-24. They moved to 5-0, and they look really good, man. They look really good. Davin Widener, 14 for 26, 142 yards, a touchdown. Latrell Morrell, 21 carries, 80 yards. Jordan Dees, 5 receptions, 69 yards. Devion Newsom, 4 receptions, 28 yards, and a touchdown. They get the victory, man. They continue to win. And then when you look at their schedule, they beat Sanford 34-3. They beat Nichols 34-10. A Nichols that beat Incarnate Word. They beat East Tennessee State 35-31. They beat East Kentucky 33-12. They now beat Southern Utah 27-24. They're winning, man. They're winning. Say what you want about West Georgia. I don't think they're playoff eligible. I don't think any of that. But they are winning. They are winning football games. They're winning football games. So they play Austin Peay next week. Good game. They play Abilene Christian the week after that. Good game. They play Tarleton State the week after that. Good game. They then play Central Arkansas, North Alabama, Utah Tech. But their next 3 games, Austin Peay, Abilene Christian, Tarleton State, have your eyes on West Georgia. Now, I'll say it again. I don't think they're playoff eligible. I think they're still in that transition period. But West Georgia looks like a good football team. They're playing like a good football team. They're winning football games. Now, UTRGV or University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, they're not it. The first game against real FCS competition in Sela, who's not great, they lose. So maybe pump the brakes. I will pump the brakes on UTRGV. But West Georgia, on the other hand, they look good, man. Presbyterian as well as 5-0. Lehigh is 5-0. So there's really good football. I really want to use this last segment to talk about West Georgia, but also just to talk about some of the, like, Lehighs, the Presbyterians, the West Georgias, the UTRGVs who lost yesterday. Like, all those teams who are on the fringe. Maybe, I think UTRGV is playoff eligible. They're probably not going to be a playoff team. I think Presbyterian may be playoff eligible. They look good. There's some good football being played in the FCS right now, man. At the bottom of the FCS, where some of those teams who are unknown, who are trying to build a name for themselves, they are playing good football. West Georgia is one of those teams playing good football. So I got my eyes on West Georgia. I will be paying attention. I've been locked in, but I will be paying attention. I will be there. So you guys let me know what you think about West Georgia. How do you guys think they stack up against the rest of the FCS? I don't think they're a contender. They're not a contender. But they are going to make life hard for the rest of the UAC. Abilene Christian, Tarleton might drop the game to West Georgia. That could be their only loss. That could very well be their only loss. Austin Peay might lose that game. Abilene Christian most likely will lose that game. Based on what we saw yesterday against Incarnate Word, Abilene Christian may lose that game. So, good ball being played in the UAC. I'm very impressed with the UAC. I am a fan of the UAC. Up and down, man. They are a good football conference. West Georgia 5-0, Tarleton State 5-0, Abilene Christian 2-3, Austin Peay 3-2, 1-1 in conference. but the top half of the UAC conference is good ball being played there. So you guys let me know what you think about the UAC. You guys let me know what you think about West Georgia down below, and I will move on. Okay. I want to thank you guys for tapping into the channel this week. I want to thank you guys for tapping into Akem'S analysis. I appreciate you guys so much for showing love. I appreciate you guys for continuing to come back and watch my videos and like my videos, leave comments on my videos. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for messing with me. Thank you guys for coming chat with me. Thank you guys for coming to listen to me talk. Like I said, this week we had 2 videos. My video with Keenan was about 50 minutes long, talking about Montana and talking about some of the things in the rest of the Big Sky Conference. So I dropped that as a separate video, and then I talked about the other games in the Big Sky Conference as well as some other games in FCS football in this video. So I thank you guys for tapping in. I thank you guys for continuing to show love. I'm right there at 2,000 subscribers, so hit the subscribe button and get me over 2,000 subscribers. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this content. If you like this content, continue to like, continue to subscribe, and continue to let me know. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys give me. I appreciate you guys so much. So thank you guys. Thank you. I will catch you guys next week, or I'll actually catch you guys on Thursday for my preview show, so tune in for that, and I'll see you guys later.